A very important game because Praetorian, based on his scoreline, if he actually takes the win here, then he could also be tied for the last spot at 2 and 3. Now that 2 and 3 is activated to be kind of the scoreline for the third place, right? This is the third best scoreline that anybody can achieve. 2 and 3 now becomes really important. So actually, that statement that people that have 3 losses are automatically out, all of a sudden is not true anymore, just because there's so many people with that 2-3 scoreline. It's just one spot available though. They're all fighting for that third place spot. So we'll see. Sheepy can impact the outcome of this playoffs here by his performance. So we'll see what happens.
So start us off with a little bit about a Control Blood, because you really like it. A lot of people probably haven't seen Control Blood. Talk about why it's good against aggro. Like, what makes it good?
Okay, so one of the best things about, or to actually just give a brief explanation of what Control Blood is. Control Blood is a deck that is very to the late game. You're going to be playing a lot of reactive cards. You're going to be playing cards like Vampiric Kiss and Hungering Horde and all that. And you're going to be keeping your opponent's board clear as much as possible throughout the game. And the reason that it's very good against aggro is because it has many ways of being able to heal. It has very strong board clears, such as Revelation, especially with which we see in Sheepy's hand. He has 2 of them, and he has Blood Moon. So I would be amazed if Praetorian was even able to stick a board versus this deck, especially with the way Sheepy's hand is shaping up.
Oh yeah, he's got a perfect line here. He's got Blood Moon into Belphegor to draw cards without losing any life. He's got double Rev, and he's got Righteous Devil before essentially all of the Blood Moon runs out. So he can go Belphegor into Righteous Devil or Belphegor into Rev to wipe the board. And as we know, Actress Feria Alice boards look very tough, but not 8 damage tough. So it can definitely wipe out the board regardless of how big these followers get.
Now, to give a little bit of, I guess, insight into Revelation, the card specifically, or rather Blood Moon, the synergy between them, because I talked about it a little bit, is that Blood Moon automatically puts you in Vengeance regardless of what your life total is. And usually you have to be at 10 or lower to be in Vengeance. So what Revelation does is it usually costs 8, and it reduces its cost to 4 if you are in Vengeance. So Sheepy essentially has access to a way to completely wipe away the board from a very early state in the game because Blood Moon forces him into Vengeance.
And it looks like Praetorian's going to say, you know what, you have Blood Moon, so I don't have to worry about your Vengeance, so I'm just going to push as hard and fast as possible.
Now, there is one thing that could actually change this matchup in a very crazy way. And I can't imagine that Sheepy wouldn't just play Revelation here. But if Praetorian draws Albert, and it say Albert running Albert into Alwita, this could be very difficult for Sheepy to deal with after having played the Revelation, because after he plays the Rev, he's not going to be able to play anything else.
Right. But he does have Righteous Devil plus Diabolic Drain next turn if something really crazy happens. So he's definitely not dead in the water to just a single Albert.
No, I'm just saying, if he has running cards like that, yeah.
So one of the benefits of Neutral Sword, so beyond, you've seen all of these neutral decks, they all have their benefits, that kind of stuff. The reason why you play Neutral Sword is for 2 cards, really. One of them is Maze. You actually see both of them in the hand of Praetorian right now. One is Maisie, 2-play 0.22. If you have an allied follower in play that's neutral and you evolve her, you get to kill an enemy follower for free, essentially. She doesn't have to attack it or anything, it just dies. And then Rabbit Ear Attendant, a 3-play 0.23 in hand, says for every allied neutral follower you have in play, you get to draw a card when you play her. So the refill engine, kind of like Wizardess for the neutral rune package.
Right. Well, for Sheepy's play here, yeah, Righteous Devil just seems like the right play. Evolve it, and he has the Diabolic Drain as well.
I would use it now too, because this is going to push him out of Vengeance.
Yep.
Take up my shield.
So
I won't lose again.
He's at a nice healthy life total at 15. We can see that Praetorian doesn't really have much in the way of, I would say, doing any significant damage this turn to Sheepy.
Right.
So, yeah.
This is essentially just going to see how well Praetorian can gain value out of his cards, because we are going to get to the late game now. He still has to deal with his Bane follower. I'm assuming he's going to use one of the evolution points on this Maisie, because otherwise he's just going to lose a follower to it regardless. So I think the play will be something like Alice into Maisie, evolve Maisie. But going forward, it's going to be how much value you can push out of this Council of Card Knights into Ravity or Attendant and just keep refilling the hand over and over again to see if you can finally make that push against the Blood player. But the later it gets, the better it gets for Blood. So really just depends on how fast that can happen also.
I would say that Praetorian needs to be able to either end the game or set up a place where the game can end before Sheepy gets to 10 play points, because we see that Sheepy has that Bahamut. So, like, Bahamut is basically thanks for playing for neutral sword. So, yeah, we're going to get to see that. And we do see Mask of Black Death as well. We've been seeing a lot of people running that. And for those who don't know what Mask of Black Death does, it will, it has countdown 5, and you don't take any damage, but when you do take damage, the amulet gets reduced in count equal to the damage. But it'll absorb all the damage.
Let's play again.
In that one.
I think you cut out a little bit there, so I'll kind of rehash for them. Mask of Black Death, 5 countdown. It takes damage before you do until it's gone, and if you deal more damage than the countdown that's left on it, it actually erases all the damage. So it's actually interesting that Sheepy chose to put himself into Vengeance instead of blocking the damage with Belphegor right there. What do you think about that play?
Well, he is technically still blocking the damage with he's still technically blocking the damage with the Mask of Black Death. In this way, he's giving himself the ability to not take damage and still be in Vengeance, and that was a great draw for the following turn. So this sets up Revelation, which is probably exactly what he wanted to do. Get his opponent to kind of lull him into a sense of security, and then now he can just pull the plug on that. Not only that, but he can also play the Righteous Devil. So, so since he is in Vengeance, he'll get the Drain and the Bane. So for those who don't know what Drain does, Drain allows you to gain health equal to the damage that the card dealt when you were attacking with it, and Bane will just kill whatever follower whenever it does damage to it.
Yep. And it's interesting because Sheepy chose to evolve the previous turn, even with the Mask of Black Death out, and not save it for the Righteous Devil for another huge heal like he had earlier in the game. So it feels like he kind of understands the matchup, and he knows where it's going, and felt like he didn't need the Evo point. He might feel just super comfortable now. And like you said, that Temptress Vampire draw should make you feel pretty comfortable. That's another 5 life gain. It can kill a big follower, it can go directly to face, and then followed right up by the Bahamut. He's looking pretty good right now, especially with these Gabriels just chewing up Praetorian's hand. Very interesting meta call.
Now, okay, let's take a little bit of a revisit to Praetorian's line of play here. He opts to leave the Righteous Devil in play. Okay, he doesn't want to take it out. He didn't evolve his Bane to take out the Righteous Devil. He decided to do that. Now, the only thing I can think of is he's like, well, you know what? I'm just going to kind of bank on Albert and boom. But the problem with that line of play is that he just basically gave Sheepy the opportunity to heal out of range. And obviously he wouldn't know they had the Temptress Vampire, but he just gave him the ability to kind of get out of range of that. And yeah, that was amazing. Well,
that was like the perfect thing he could have gotten off of Baphomet. Now, I still don't understand why the Temptress wasn't played this turn. Again, maybe he just wants to save it for face. He doesn't want to use it defensively. Which I can
actually
totally
agree with that. I agree with him choosing not to use it here. The simple reason is that he doesn't have to play it. Like, he had plenty of ways of gaining health. Again, the Righteous Devil was still left in play, and he had a Diabolic Drain. So it wasn't like he had to play Temptress. And with Control Blood, you're not necessarily in a rush to win the game, even though you do eventually want to win. So you're not necessarily in a rush. It's just that he could do more with his turn. Oh my goodness, look at he could do more with his turn.
That was a little greedy. I don't know if he needed to draw extra cards there. Sheepy falling asleep over here.
I mean, to be fair, there isn't really much that Praetorian can even do in this scenario. I mean, he can
like,
use
here's my thought process, right? Like, say there's 2 Alberts in the hand of Praetorian, right? The first one, he doubles up, goes face. It gets traded into, Sheepy goes back up to 3, possibly 8 with a Temptress Vampire. Actually, yeah, okay, that's plenty then. Okay, so he did the math. There's no way even double Albert was good enough for this.
Right. And that's why, you know, that's why I was like, okay, he didn't have to play Temptress Vampire. Again, we do want to win, but, you know, it's that whole war of attrition that Control Blood eventually wins. You know? I
think what we're really just seeing, honestly, on the side of Praetorian is that he teched in these 2 Gabriels just to keep pushing damage, but he found himself in a matchup where he just couldn't keep a board. So those Gabriels are just sitting in hand, eating up slots that could be, you know, Rabbidier Attendants or other things that could be just pushing the game forward. So I think these Gabriels are costing Praetorian a lot in this game, just eating up his hand here.
Now, okay, so we just saw him play the Luminous Mage. I figure, okay, he wants to get some value out of it. Wow, that was a disgusting draw. Like,
yeah, he has all the tools. I really just feel like face Bahamut here, and then you just kind of snooze until you win. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we do see the Council. Of course, Sheepy doesn't. But we do see the Council. He does still have an Evo point left. But again, this still leaves me to wonder why Praetorian, a few turns ago, didn't bother to take out the Righteous Devil. I think that play alone opened up the door for Sheepy to kind of just do whatever he wants.
Absolutely, because that all-important 10 play point or 10 life total, and the reason why we say that, guys, is because Sword, everybody knows that's in the game that plays against Sword. Albert is a 3/5 with Storm, but if you play it for 9, it gets to attack twice, and if you evolve it, that's 5 damage. So 5 damage twice is 10. So 10 is a huge life total against when you're playing against Sword. So if you can stay above it, they can't really OTK you in any sort of way. So you can kind of feel comfortable, especially if you have life gain sitting in your hand, to not worry about anything.
I find it's very, at least in Sheepy's case, that he has been incredibly comfortable sitting at this 11 life total. Yeah. He's been very comfortable. You know, you just get this man a back massager, and you know he is good. You know.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, he definitely feels comfortable with the deck. Sheepy, as we know, is a very control-oriented player, so I'm sure he's played Control Blood in many iterations over the different seasons and set releases. So this probably feels right at home for him. Yeah.
Now he does leave up a board for Gabriel, and I think you would just.
They're both good plays. I think FMR is slightly better because you get the same amount of damage in while putting out a follower that won't die that you can keep Gabrieling, maybe?
But Gabriel presents more damage in the longer term, I think. So
yeah, okay.
Because it has, you know, its stats. It's just gave that a huge jump.
Yeah, it's so huge jump.
Over so soon.
And he can still keep Sheepy out of Vengeance.
Not as important now with 10 play points, but...
Well, it is when you're sitting on 2 Emeraldas, you know.
That's true. Emeraldas do a lot of work.
I was like, Emeralda's a pretty good card, man.
It's time for fun and games.
Finally get to see one played here. It's going to take out 2 more followers. And realistically, like Aya said, this is just a war of attrition. It's just, now we're getting to the point where Blood has all of these options, these super good endgame cards, and Praetorian for a long time could just draw a bunch of, you know, 1, 2, 3 play point followers, which we're seeing right now, which aren't really going to be good enough to finish Sheepy off.
The power of purity to you.
Man.
Gabriel's finally getting some use, though, so I'm kind of happy about that.
I'm not upset. I'm not upset. He'll probably use this to trade with the Emeralda and go face so he keeps him out of Vengeance. Yeah.
No.
I don't know if I like that, though. I think I like pushing all of the Gabriel damage face because of the resources that you have left to you. Like, now he's played safe, and how is he going to get the less 11 points of damage in? You know what I mean?
Well, there is... Okay, so my line of thinking... Of course, we have perfect information, but my line of thinking would be that if I were Praetorian and I leave a 4 power follower on board, is it really wise for me to do that? And I know that he could play another one, gain kill me, putting him in menu. You know, so.
Ooh.
Wait.
That's only 10. That's so close.
That's so close.
That's so close.
I kind of. Wow. It's so close. Just 1 damage off. 1 damage off. And we see that Sheepy has the way of just healing out of that again. He's catching some Z's over there. You know?
Yeah.
We see
Worst
that
case scenario, he can Diabolic Drain and Temptress Vampire next turn. He has access to Diabolic Drain plus Mask of Black Death if he wants that option. So he's definitely not dead out of the water yet. So.
But yeah, we can see that Sheepy has plenty of ways of healing out of this. That doesn't kill, though. I love the Blood Hungry Matriarch, and that it's animated. That's sweet.
And it's animated, yeah. Looking pretty spicy over there.
Yeah, that's looking pretty savage. But we, apart from that,
enjoy your death.
Interesting play.
He's gonna do this and play. I like this because he can play Mask of Black, and yeah. So
and Diabolic. Or well, I actually, I'm interested to know that play. Maybe he just doesn't need to play the Diabolic Drain. Like, I might have considered doing it, because the extra 1 damage doesn't really matter. But I guess with the Mask of Black Death, it also doesn't matter with his life total. There's no way to possibly punch through that enough.
Right, so this Albert would actually literally be left just trading out with this Blood Hungry Matriarch, because he can't leave it there.
You can get this one.
Okay, he's going to leave it there.
You can get this one.
Oh, he's...
Oh, the ecstasy!
I like this. I mean, that's pretty much what he had to do.
But
so now this is a lot more tense game than we thought it was going to be, but saving that Temptress Vampire for this long, this is a perfect spot to play it.
Yeah, play it on the Albert. And this is where, again, we start seeing Control Blood just dominate the game. Like this, Sheepy has been in control of this game for a very long time. And I don't really see any way now for Praetorian to kind of come back here. I don't really know what he could draw off of this Rabbit Air Attendant. That's certainly not going to do it.
That was good, though.
So soon.
That was good.
Keeps him in the game. Like, this is the one thing about Control Blood. It can look like it's controlling the game for the longest possible time, but it still has to win the game at some point, and it's one of the slowest decks in the world at doing that.
It is. It is.
It's one of the slowest
that's why
decks
I love
ever.
it, because I love those grindy games, man.
Like, you literally have to sit on the edge of your seat until you finally can get those last points of damage in. And as you see, like, Praetorian's been out of gas for so long. But Sheepy, you know, he still has to maintain board control, still has to do little chips. But, like, I think now we're finally going to see it. I think this is over now.
Yeah. I mean, he drew another Rapid Air Attendant. I can't imagine him drawing... Yeah, that's not going to do it.
That's not going to do it. So finally, after like turn 55, Sheepy coming out on top. Took him a while, but he got there. He played the turns perfectly. He knew exactly what he was doing. He made sure he was out of lethal range every single turn, and just did what Control Blood does.
An exemplary battle.
Yep. Sheepy played that game rather immaculately. Not that Praetorian even played badly. Not even that. I do think that again, going backwards, the one play where he left the Righteous Devil in play may have been a little bit of an error, but as we saw the rest of the game kind of play out, it ultimately didn't matter.
Right. It did not. The extra 2 life was not what was there, because honestly speaking, if that 2 life wasn't there, with Sheepy's knowledge of the matchup, he could have easily have just gained those 2 life earlier with one of the Diabolic Drains that he had access to or something like that. So,
right.
Definitely able to keep control there. So let's see if Praetorian sticks with his sword, or if he switches over to Forest. I need to see some more Forest. I'm sad that everybody's bringing neutral Forest, though. What happened to good old Roach? Where's my friend Roach?
See, you know what it was? Everyone saw that I cursed Forest, so they decided to just jam the neutral package into Forest so that they could get it right. That's what happened. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Let me see some. Okay, this looks like it could be some Roach. This isn't the neutral aggro package. This is the neutral spell package, which would lend me to believe that there are Roaches in this deck. I'm hoping. I'm gonna hold out hope here. Come on, Praetorian. Show me proud.
You can hope.
Let's go.
You can hope, but I'm gonna cling to reality while he's in dreamland. Okay, the reality is the reality is that most people just didn't. They probably just didn't feel like they wanted to, you know, risk playing Roach. They'd rather just stick to the neutral package. And Forest does offer some very interesting options for the neutral package with Flower Princess. And okay, this is definitely Roach. Well, with Flower
Water Fairy
Princess
is an interesting choice, though, especially in like if it's tending towards the neutral side. Water Fairy is definitely an interesting choice because it kind of mitigates what Goblin Mage can do, and Fina with Goblin Mage to search out your Roaches, so it kind of hurts your combo. And the deck's kind of slower as it is anyway right now, so interesting choice to add.
Very interesting line. But unfortunately, though, he's just going to end up replaying that. You know, one of the most irritating things when you're playing really against Rune at all is when you're on turn 2 and your opponent Kaleidoscopic blows you.
Especially when you're Haven, and I'm sure you've experienced that plenty.
Yeah. Like, hey,
you play a Beast Calaria or a Sacred Plea. They can even wait a few turns, you know what I mean? And right before it's about to pop, bounce it right back to your hand. It feels great.
Yep. So for the people who don't know, Kaleidoscopic Glow, when it's played, it returns a card that has two or less play points to the opponent or to a player's hand. So you can choose cards to get some value out of that, to get some use, or you could choose your opponent's card to kind of set them behind in tempo.
So really good in Earth Rune, mostly because you can reorder your sigils. It's a good tempo play early. It's one of the only sources of card draw in the deck early game. So it does a lot of work, a lot of different things that I can do in the early game.
You figured it out.
Okay, so
we're seeing like a very natural Beauty and the Beast hand from Praetorian. This is not going to do anything special other than get the requirements met for Beauty and the Beast and play it and hope it's good enough.
Well, we see that that mutagenic bolt is, you know, just kind of hanging out there. So
Praetorian doesn't know this.
I know. I say that's how we see it. But we see that, you know, that's going to happen. And Kaleidoscopic Glow, again, ruining people's dreams.
Showing its value. One of the things, like, this is one of the bad things, and I feel for Forest. Forest really has a lot of those turns where you have to play a fairy just to evo so that you can keep tempo with your opponent, because you're doing a lot of card drawing, you're making a lot of fairies, you're doing a lot of stuff. But when you're playing against Rune and you evo a fairy, or any deck when you're playing against Rune, if you evo a 2 or less drop against them, like, just expect that it's going to get glowed, and just expect to feel really bad about it.
Right. So, he played Magic Illusionist. He doesn't have any sigils, though, so Magic Illusionist dies, it just dies. So, whenever Magic Illusionist dies, you perform Earthright, which basically means you crack one of your sigils that are in play, and you just resummon a Magic Illusionist. So this allows you to kind of, just keep reusing it.
Is that an Altered Fate?
Over and over. That is an Altered Fate.
Is there some spicy PTP in this deck too, or is that just a filter card, you think?
Alright, well, I don't even want to speculate. I want to go find out. So, we're about to find out right now exactly what that is.
I just looked at the list.
No,
there are three altered... But there are three Altered Fates. Yeah, so he really wants to Beauty and the Beast. Like, really, really. He's like, I don't have it, ditch in my hand. What's next? No? Alright, let's go again.
Well, he's rocking only 2 Beauty and the Beast. He's not rocking a whole 3, so... maybe he just said, you know what, man? I always want to have this available. And you know what? That's not even necessarily bad.
It's not bad.
I kind of like the idea.
I kind of like the idea. I don't know if I like 3 of them. 3 seems a little high, but it is kind of good in Forest, because Forest will have those draws where you're just like, I can't do anything, and Altered Fate can definitely help you out with that. And it's also a spell, like if you map it correctly, you can actually Altered Fate into a Roach combo if you get the Dream scenario off of the Altered Fate. So it gives you more options to the deck, so I kinda like that.
Right. Well,
Not desire.
there's the Beauty and the Beast,
Time.
and it's about to meet a very sad end.
Here.
Very sad end.
No shame.
I mean, you see this, and then
I slip
that,
up.
and then Mutagenic Bolt happens, and then you're sad.
Yep. So Praetorian trying to clean up the board to make it as hard as possible for Sheepy to actually deal with this Beauty and the Beast. But yeah.
Oz into that, into Laugh.
Yep.
You know.
He could even use the Piercing Rune on the Flame Rat, which I think he will.
I am a
Although he doesn't have to. There's no Evo points on the side of Praetorian, so there's not a huge threat that Wizardess will die. So he might choose not to Evo here.
Well, he certainly doesn't have to. Yeah. Try to get as much value out of his hand as possible. There's no reason to Evo this to keep it alive. He loses the other Mutagenic Bolt, but he will be able to refill his hand with another Oz.
Well, that was a great draw from Praetorian. Now he can actually deal with the Oz, and then the Mutagenic Bolt will go. And then honestly, Praetorian with this Altered Fate in hand and the Glimmering Wings, he could just filter a ton after this turn. So deal with the board this turn, and then just filter, and hope he goes crazy next turn. At least set up a better endgame than what he has access to now.
I just want to say I really like the play animation for Thornburst. It's not something you get to see very often, but it kind of has that whole Tsubaki animation where it's just
It's
like...
legendary. Thornburst is legendary. I think that's a really cool aspect of the card.
Yes, it is. Like, and just as a principle thing, I'm actually incredibly glad that they made a card like that. You know what I mean? Like that they made it where you could actually produce a legendary card off, or rather Thornburst off of a different card other than Rose Queen. So I thought that that was really cool.
Very cool. Oh, that's right. That's why it is legendary, because Rose Queen produces it naturally.
Yep.
That's right. That's right. So interesting. I hope they do more of that. Because it gives you more value to your animated cards, right? Especially when you get to put stuff like that in your hand, like animated Flower Princess. Putting a bunch of animated value in your hand. I'm coming around, Daya. I'm coming around. Ooh,
Well,
perfect draw.
Great draw.
So I'll be able to clear out both of Sheepy's minions, followed up with an Altered Fate. Because I can't imagine him keeping this hand. There's no reason to.
No.
And this is why you put Altered Fate in the deck, right?
Stump those hands you don't want.
Oh, he likes it.
Well, Master Mage Levy is gonna do a little bit of work, but not by much. I mean, he can Evo to take out something though, so there is that. He could. Oh wait, no, I stand corrected. He could play Master Mage Levy into that, or in Red Hot Ritual. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
I'm actually thinking he's gonna go Professor into Levy. So like, if you do that, it guarantees the kill of the Lilac, and you get all the value this turn.
I like that too.
Yeah, like Professor, and you have perfect play points to do it. You play the Professor of Taboos, you play the Levy, Evo Levy into the 4/4, and then you use the Crimson Sorcery on the Water Fairy for the Professor of Taboos. Okay, this works too.
Yeah, because he can use his Evo, take out the ward, and then Sigil pop, boom. Here goes Lilac.
Yeah. So similar line, just different card.
Yeah. And we can see that Praetorian has 0 to deal with this board.
Yep. This is why I was thinking, like, why not just Altered Fate last turn? Now he's in a bind.
Oh yeah, he's not just in a bind. That man is in 10 straight jackets right now because there's no way he's getting out of this. Okay, so
he's crazy. Take him to the loony bin if you think he's getting out of this one. Yeah, that Professor of Taboos, like, this is a game that really highlights how powerful that card can be. If you can set up a turn to where you can clear off your entire opponent's enemy board, like, you basically create an army while killing theirs. So it's like, you're doing crazy amounts of value with every single thing that you play.
Yep. So, wow. He can't even get any value out of the Hector. No other neutrals. You know,
This is the problem with playing stuff like Fairy Whisperer, Water Fairy. Like, he's playing like half PTP, a little bit of Beauty and the Beast. It's kind of an interesting mix of cards. Like, yeah.
I'm a little puzzled.
I've definitely not seen a Force deck built like this before.
No, I have not either. I have definitely not. But as we can see, like, just the Elfman's Assault isn't gonna do anything.
Just a mage
At
who's
all.
as old
It
as
won't be
death.
long now.
Not anymore.
Yeah, because there's no neutrals other than the Hecking hand. So, and he got rid of 2 into the loop.
It's just all face. Scream's face. I mean, you have the Piercing Rune plus the Crimson Sorcery. I mean, it's just lights out. That's it.
And I expect that there's a pose that's going to be coming up in the next.
Oh yeah, Sheepy's got something for us. Let's go, Sheepy.
All right, Sheepy, where's the pose? Sheepy,
Pose?
where's the pose?
Sheepy!
The pose.
Aw, he was just excited to win. That's okay, Sheepy.
I'm
We'll
disappointed.
forgive you.
I'm
Sheepy,
disappointed.
Sheepy feels like maybe he was preoccupied with thinking about what he was going to do with his playoffs winnings that he is now on track to get. But so Praetorian will lose. There's no crazy 2-3.